You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions. Your host tonight is the author of the Pro-Black Compendium and Zuberi and the Maroons of Maa, the Pan-African Nationalist, Oni. Oni, what are we discussing tonight?
Today we're going to discuss how the U.S. government banned this podcast, and we're going to explain why and how. Ahmed Sekou Toure put it very succinctly. He said, and this is in the Pro-Black Compendium, he said, if the enemy is not doing anything against you, you are not doing anything. Very simply put, if the enemy is not doing anything against you, you are not doing anything. The enemy is doing something against me. I'm doing something. U.S. government banned this podcast. Okay? And I'm going to explain. On Mixcloud, right? I upload this podcast on YouTube and I upload it on Mixcloud. On Mixcloud, a listener contacted me and said, hey, Oni, they're telling me this podcast is banned in my region. You know, and I'm going to put the image up on YouTube. And it's going to say, sorry, but we can't play this broadcast here in your region. And bear in mind, this brother's in the United States of America. Okay? He's in the United States of America, but the whole region can't hear my podcast. The whole region was banned, and Mixcloud didn't even tell me. Didn't say, hey, you know what, we're going to ban your podcast in this region. No, they kept asking me for money to help, quote unquote, promote my podcast. Can you imagine that? They're putting on that face. You know, I don't have this in the book because it's not an African proverb, but the quote unquote native man of America, and of course we know he's not native, but the quote unquote native man of America has something to say about white people, and he says the white man speaks with a forked tongue. And that's pretty much, that sums up what should be known about white folk. If you're going to rely on somebody who isn't African to tell you about something in this world, that's one of those phrases that you should probably put in the back of your head. The white man speaks with a forked tongue. Basically, he smiles at you in one way while he stabs you in the back in another. This white boy is offering me, he's asking me, he says, hey, Oni, put a little money here and I'll do you a favor. I'll do you a solid. Meanwhile, he's blocking my podcast without my cognizance, without me knowing. And he's selectively doing so because it tells you that he knows where I'm at. Because when I go to see, hey, is this blocked? It says, no, it's playing just fine. When somebody else in my region goes to look for it, they say it's playing just fine. But someone outside of my region doesn't even get to hear me. And this is something that, this is Whitey. Whitey, I tell you, you think Whitey's smart. You think he's clever, right? And of course you do because he told you so. But there you have it. There you have it. He exposes himself. And you gotta see, when he exposes himself, you gotta let people know the flaws, you know, the what they call the chinks in his armor. You gotta let people know he is selectively broadcasting what you thought he was generally broadcasting. Or you thought he wasn't listening. But apparently he's listening. And you don't got to be significant. You don't got to be a big player, if you will. Because here's the thing that you got to know about my Mixcloud account. It only has 10 followers. 10. And not only does it only have 10 followers, it wasn't even listened to that much. You understand? It wasn't even listened to that much. But notwithstanding that, somehow it was communicated to this corporation, if you will, that don't let this nigga communicate to anybody. Don't let him get big. Don't let people know about him. And it happened. And it happened. So something, someone, somewhere knows about this podcast and is telling white people, hey, look, let's not give this person the full services that we're going to give to these, to the black folk that we quote unquote like. Let's not give them the sellout attention. Because it's not a sellout. Whitey is clearly demonstrating and declaring to us that they can control the individual quote-unquote airwaves. That they can play with the numbers, they can play with the data, they can play with the statistics, they can play with the reach on an individual level. And they don't even got to tell you about it. They don't got to tell anybody about it. I wouldn't have known. It could be that no one, you got to realize all these numbers could be played with. For all I know, I have 100 followers. But they don't need to tell me that. They don't need to report it. You understand what I'm saying to you? For all I know, I'm well listened to. But they don't need to tell me that. I'm relying on them. And that's the problem right there. But I'm relying on them to report to me these numbers. And it could be that these numbers are true, that these things are not popular. But again, they're not even sharing it. They're not promoting it. They're not letting anybody know. You understand? And they're doing it intentionally. And you know it's intentional here. See, because sometimes you might say, hey, man, it's conspiracy theory. But then why in the world, and you're going to see the image, why in the world should they ban it at all? If it's not conspiracy theory, because this same brother who tells me, hey, look, your podcast is being banned, he can listen to other podcasts. He can listen to other podcasts. So mine was isolated. Mine was selected on its own. And again, without my cognizance, no emails, no alerts, no anything. I wouldn't even know unless this person reached out. And of course that tells you too that you need to start reaching out more too. That you need to start reaching out more too. Because another thing you have to remember, or you should consider, is that, let's say if you upload a video on YouTube, and I don't know if a lot of you might not have done that, but if you really look at a video on YouTube, you're going to see on the sidebar, it's going to say other things that they recommend, so on and so forth, right? And the question becomes, and they would do this even if you don't have any tags, all right? Even if you don't have any tags, even if you have a blank title, okay? Even if you have a blank title, because some of you might want to do the math, the algorithm, all that kind of stuff. No, if you have a blank title and you have no tags, they will still recommend stuff on the sidebar. And sometimes, of course, if you have no tags and no title, maybe it's going to be entirely irrelevant, maybe, right? But the whole idea is that they automatically do that stuff. But check this. They don't need to list my stuff on the side. That's what you have to understand. They don't have to list my stuff on the side. See, I might release the video, and then you got Umar Johnson on the side. Or you got Tariq on the side, so on and so forth. But when Umar or Tariq release a video, you don't have Oni on the side. And sure, you might say, well, he's not as popular. You don't even know. Again, they play with these numbers. You don't even know. Well, I mean, we know I'm not as popular, of course, but I'm saying you don't even know because they don't need to report the real numbers. They don't need to. Another brother points out, actually I think it's Bobby Wright, points out that, psychologists play a major role in Wazugu's operation. Okay? They know the psychological effect of, hey, you put in 3 hours into releasing something and you got 20 views. They know the psychological effect behind that. And I could have really had 200 views. I could have had 300, 400 views, right? And people could have been leaving comments and they don't even put the comments up. They don't even notify me about the comments. They could do that. They can do that. And notice this too. They can make it seem like you put up a comment, right? They can make it seem like you put up a comment and I don't see it. They can even make it seem like you put up a comment and I responded, thank you. Or even thank you, come to this website. And it's a whole other website. It's a spam. It's a sort of, they could do that kind of stuff because they control it. You understand? And this is why Whitey messed up, because the next week after this brother told me, hey, the government banned me and I spread the word, he didn't ban the podcast again. Cause he sees, oh man, whoops. Didn't count on only being accessible and accessible gentleman. Didn't count on that. You understand? He counted on people reaching out to me and me ignoring them, me putting them in spam before it's too late. No, but again, and the thing is this: you don't even know if he just unlocked that region for that one brother, because again, when you look at the web, when you look at it, I mean, I don't even want to give too many details, but it wouldn't have been hard for the white boy to understand who the brother was, who the reporter was. Okay? But that's what we have to understand. Right? We got to expose this algorithm, like I said, and we got to also understand that this is not a neutral platform. These platforms aren't neutral. They are a part of the race war, if you will. You understand? And even though we might think, hey, it's user submitted content, and it's elected by, we decide what's the most watched. We decide. It's not even like that. Because I also remember one time somebody linked a Breaking Brown article, a Breaking Brown video to me, right? And for those of you who don't know Breaking Brown, that's, congratulations. Congratulations. You're doing good in life, right? But just to explain, Breaking Brown is just some idiot woman who. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't. Sorry. Look, guys, we shouldn't disrespect women. All right, even though although because she's mixed, I guess we could, but let's not make it a habit of saying anything negative about women. But just to so I backtrack. I apologize. But what I'm saying, although she's mixed, so don't get on my case too much. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is this: you have this woman who's saying, all right, hold on a second. I don't know if she's mixed or not. I believe she's mixed. Some people are saying she's not. She's evidently mixed, but some people are saying she's not. So I'm just actually not. She's with a white woman, so forget it. If she's not mixed, she's mixing. You know what I'm saying? And well, not really mixing, because all right, she's all sorts of messed up. If not mixing the head. Let's just move on, right? The thing with her is that she has this descendant of slavery movement. Let's not even go into it. And of course, that's a ridiculous movement. and I just want to enunciate on the reality that, look, you're not no matter where you are, look, if you're in America, you're not an American. If you're black and you're in America, you're not an American. You're just not. So just get that out of your system, right? You're an African in America. You're the conquest of Americans. You're not an American. America is a nation. Okay, it's a nation state. It has law and it has a sense of order, and that law and that order is against you. But we can discuss that another time, right? The thing I wanted to point out was that when I saw her video, it was on a YouTube promoter. So there was a website that was designed to promote YouTube, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, you promote YouTube videos. Basically, she paid, her people paid for her video to gain popularity on YouTube, right? And that's what a lot of our people are doing, you know. And like I said, you know, that's the kind of thing that we, you know, I mean, only reason why, part of the reason why I don't do that, besides from the fact that I don't really get that much money doing this in order to do this, but another reason is that I don't really feel like paying this white boy to promote, you know. But we have to realize that all of this social media, all of that, you know, first off, it's all a business, right? The main business is they want you to pay for marketing. They want you to pay for advertising, and they want other people to pay for advertisements, you know? So that's one thing. That's one aspect to it. But another aspect is that they don't have to be authentic. They don't have to be genuine. You know, sometimes, like for instance on Twitter, I can see how many people looked at something that I published or something that I posted. And it varies, you know? It varies. And of course, you have to understand not only the algorithm, but also understand that there's a human behind all these systems, behind all this engineering, behind all this coding. There are humans behind it, and these humans are against you, or can be convinced to be against you. You know? Or they can be convinced to be against you. And I say this to point out that yeah, it's not neutral. There's business here, and even Breaking Brown is taking advantage of that. You know, she's taking advantage of that because she has no qualm about putting money in a white boy's pocket. Because at the end of the day, she probably figures, hey, look, there's more money coming to me, more people see my video, and that's not necessarily unintelligent. You know, I for one would prefer if we just did the normal thing, and we're in the business of promoting ourselves, promoting our interests. But feeling that it's all good, I'm not really worried because, again, you know, I already know that these white boys don't want my message out anyway, even if I were to pay. Because like I said, they would ban. You don't get to see the behind the scenes. You understand? You don't get to see the behind the scenes. They won't tell me, hey, look, if I paid Mixcloud and I said, hey, Mixcloud, promote my podcast, right? If I paid them to do that, that doesn't mean that they're going to lift my ban. You understand? That they're going to go against the U.S. government and say, hey, look, this dude paid a little pocket change, so we're going to promote his stuff in all regions of your nation. They're not going to do that. You understand? Now, would they do that? Now, are they going to ban the message of Lil Wayne? No. Are they going to ban the message of Breaking Brown? No. They're going to ban Tariq Nasheed? No. You understand? There's a difference, and there's a reason for this difference. You know? Because like I said, I'm going to talk about the why and the how. You know, so the how, of course, is that they can play with the algorithms behind the scenes. They have a human input that the U.S. government itself can enforce. You understand? They understand, but there's a reason why they would target me. Okay, there's a reason why they would target me, even though I only have 10 followers. And of course, a part of it is that that I have, I wrote the Pro-Black Compendium. So, do yourself the favor and read the Pro-Black Compendium, and then after you read that, you'll understand exactly why this white boy, doesn't like Oni. You'll understand exactly why. So I'm gonna give you a moment to do that. Order it from Amazon.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Black people face one problem: the problem of ignorance. This is why those who opposed us stole us from our parents, disconnected us from our continent, and enforced on us illiteracy. But now the ignorance is self-inflicted. We send our children to their machines. We detach ourselves from our motherland, and we don't read meaningful literature. Consciousness is a series of stages. The sooner we get to one, the sooner we are ready for the higher. The Pro-Black Compendium accelerates the beginner to the advanced and provides for the advanced an unparalleled breadth. This is the sort of book your enemies do not want you to read, but our ancestors would insist you read twice.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
Now the question should come again, right? The question comes up. Why, if you only have 10 followers, right? Do they ban you? Do they ban your podcast? Do they ban your broadcast? Why? Right? And I'm gonna like, growing up, I was a little smart. I was a smart guy, right? But my mother would always tell me to be humble. She would say, be humble, stop bragging, stop doing this, stop saying this, that, blah, 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 And I'd always, and I sometimes tell her, hey, man, somebody's got to toot this horn, you know what I'm saying? Some nonsense like that, right? But, and I tried to be humble. I try to do humble. I try to have humility and all that. And I am humble. And I am I am humble, and of course that's not what humble people say, but, get out of here with your psychoanalysis, right? What I want to say is this. Why is it that even somebody with only 10 followers, and you're not going to want to hear this, but I'm going to have to say it. It's because I'm intelligent. Okay? We got to face facts as well as fancies. It's because I'm intelligent. And this is actually an interesting revelation. I want to point out, because one time I heard this lecture from this brother, and he was pointing out that these white boys, like the British intelligence agency, the British intelligence service, I'm gonna try to look up this paper, right? But the British intelligence service, right here, wrote this article called "Unrest Among the Negroes." Now it's a British document from 1919. As you can guess, they're gonna talk about Marcus Garvey, but listen to what they say about Marcus Garvey. That really makes it so that you can appreciate what I just said regarding that, regarding my intelligence, if you will, right? Let's see if I can find the reference, right? Let's see, because this is really important. Let's see. Garvey, no. Again, this is the document called Unrest Among Negroes. So this is the British government writing to the US government that they have a problem, and the problem is named Garvey, right? Now here's something that you really want to listen to, right? This movement, like most others of its character, originated in New York City and has a weekly newspaper. So they're talking about the UNIA, right? The Universal Negro Improvement Association. Matter of fact, I could even jump ahead of that. I could jump behind that, right? Let's go to their first, because I was going to read you the second paragraph. Let me read you the first paragraph that they speak of on Marcus Garvey, right? On the Universal Negro Improvement Association. They say, the avowed object of this organization is to awaken race consciousness among Negroes of the United States and Africa with the aim of gradually bringing about a unity of purpose of the Negro peoples of both continents. The scheme is very broad in scope and includes the establishment of closer relations between all the colored races of the world with a view to their mutual cooperation. This work is being carried on by clever propaganda directed principally by Marcus Garvey, a West Indian Negro whose office is at 36 West 135th Street, New York City. See Appendix 3, right? This movement, like most others of its character, originated in New York City and has a weekly newspaper, The Negro World, as its official organ. The association holds periodical mass meetings which are usually well attended. With the exception of Garvey and Domingo, however, most of its leaders lack intellectual equipment possessed by the young Negroes in the Socialist Party, right? Now I could probably continue. I don't care to. If you want this document, I guess you could hit me up, right? But I really, truly, I don't really think that it's worth sharing because it's just a bunch of white people talking about white nonsense, right? But the reason why I even quoted it is because you see that this British intelligence agency, if you will, notices or notes the intellectual ability of Garvey, right? As well as, Domingo, right? But it's this intellectual ability that makes a person a threat. You understand? It's this intellectual ability that makes a person a threat. White people don't like intelligent black people because intelligent black people are a different beast altogether. Okay, a different beast altogether. White boy does not want a fair fight. You understand? The Ku Klux Klan would have as a rule that at minimum, anytime they were to go into an altercation with black people, like if they wanted to do a lynching, if they wanted to do anything like that, they should outnumber the black person 3-1. They don't care for a fair fight. You understand? You care for a fair fight, but white people know not to care for a fair fight, and they don't see a fair fight if they're facing an intelligent black person. You understand? They say, hey, look, I can interview Lil Wayne. I can interview Lil Jon. I can interview any man that calls himself little. I can do that because they're not intelligent. And I don't want to make that general statement, although it's, pretty true, obviously. But I don't want to make that general statement. But you understand what I'm saying. Garvey, Domingo, these are threats. Why? Because they're intelligent. And they're saying the rest of them, not really. Not even worth mentioning. We worry more about the socialists. I think if I'm going to let me look at this a little further. I think they even go in and say the other people aren't. Well, I don't see it here, but my impression was that they were saying the other people aren't even like are just charlatans, if you will. They're in essence saying, hey, there were. Garvey had contemporaries who were like your Tariq, who were like your Breaking Brown, who were like them, But the point that I'm trying to say is that, that's why they want to ban my message. Okay, that's why, and it's imperative for you to actually value the message. Like I said, you can value it by getting the books, get the 2 books. You can value it by sending a donation. You can value it by actually sharing the podcast. Actually sharing the podcast. That's how you value it. Or even reviewing these books. And I'm telling you, really get these books because as much as good as this podcast is, I'm telling you, this book is better. The books are better, and the upcoming books are going to be great as well. You know, but here's how intelligence is different from what you're used to, right? You look at Flint, okay? Flint had this poisoned water since 2014, right? And then some people would say, hey, you know, in 2017 it was resolved, right? But we all know it wasn't, right? We all know it wasn't, because even the government is telling you, hey, you know, still drink only bottled water, right? Still drink only bottled water, right? But here's the trouble with us as a people, right? The heroes of Flint today, right? The heroes of Flint today are, to my knowledge, is this young black girl. You know, she's like a young girl, like maybe 9, 10, 11. You know, maybe she's 14 now or something like that, right? And she's collecting donations to bring water bottles to the Flint residents, right? That's a hero today. That's hashtag Black Girl Rock or something, or Black Girl Magic. You know, that's leadership today. That's intelligent leadership, according to you, right? But the question is this: you have so many black engineers. Who's organizing them to fix the water? You understand? Who's organizing them to fix the water? And the answer is no one. And that's really the tragedy here. Because your leadership is telling you, hey, let's celebrate. Let's get some more water bottles here. Hey guys, Flint's messed up. Let's get some water bottles. That's what you're saying. You understand? That's what you're saying. And the thing is that's not self-help. I mean, the water bottle girl, she's all right. She's okay. You know, first off, she's just a little girl anyway, right? Or she's just a young lady, right? So it's okay for her. But for the adults of Michigan, the adults of Flint, for the adults in America, for the adults of the world, you know, this is an opportunity lost. You know, and that reminds me of another quote from the Pro-Black Compendium. And this one's actually just a general rule of warfare. But I'm going to have to pull this one up too, right? So, and the quote, the key word here is opportunity, right? Yeah, so this is on page 33, and it says, to know how to recognize an opportunity in war and take it benefits you more than anything else. And the truth of this is that Flint was an opportunity in war, and we did not take it. We did not take it. And the reason why we didn't take it is because we don't have intelligent leadership. You know, this girl who does the bottles, she's getting all the superlatives. She's probably going to be a senator one day. You know, who knows, right? Or she's going to be something. She's probably going to be something huge, something big. You know, let's hope so, right? But because she took the opportunity, she said there's an opportunity, but it's not really. But like what we had to be doing, because I don't really want to be talking about the young lady, you know, because she's good people, right? She's good people, but many other among us aren't. Let's just face facts, right? And we have to realize that Africans are not about self-help. Whether we're in America, whether we're in Africa, whether we're in the Caribbean, you know, whether we're in whatever part of the diaspora we are, we don't have Africans advocating for self-help. And the Africans who are advocating for self-help, these are the people that America is against. These are the people that the West and the European world are against. They don't want, you know, you just had British intelligence writing American intelligence, hey, garbage is a problem. You just had that. You just in 1919. And now in 2018, you know, we have the same thing, hey, you know what? Only's a problem, ban it from the airwaves. 99 years later, only's a problem, let's ban it from the airwaves. Right? But we need to start advocating self-help, and that's something that separates me from other people. You understand? Even other nationalists, other so-called nationalists, because with leadership, listen to me, like I said, engineers could fix the water, right? Engineers could fix the water, and if engineers fix the water, you already know how much money is in water. You understand? Because the people of Flint are still paying their water bills. notwithstanding that the water is toxic. If you had, and this is the quote unquote capitalist country, if you had black people fixing the water, like a black company fixing the water, or a fundraiser or a GoFundMe for black engineers to get the equipment and get paid, obviously, to make a company to repair the water, it would have been done overnight. Instead, we have fundraisers for more water bottles, or and I'm going to give you more of what's actually being done, but I'm going to give you that a little later. But the whole thing is that you need to have people advocating for self-help, and that's not happening. And because it's not happening, we don't have any followers of the nationalist camp, because you don't hear anybody saying, say what you want, the black nationalists really came through for us. Because the black nationalists didn't. The black nationalists didn't. From 2014 to today, these people didn't have water. But we have black folk who claim to be nationalists, just arguing, hey man, government is not doing. Not really nationalists. I'm telling you this. They're not really nationalists. They're beggars. There are beggars, and that's the big difference. That's what this DOS stuff is. They're beggars, but not just the DOS. Like I said, a lot of these people are just begging this white boy for better treatment. And I want to show you. What I'm talking about here, right? So what I'm saying is that intelligent leadership will tell you, hey, look, Flint has some water trouble, right? We got to fix it. Okay? So what do we need to fix it? What do we need to fix it? Well, we need some engineers. We need this kind of equipment. We need that kind of equipment. We need to, surveyors. We need geologists. We need so on and so forth. And there are tons of black geologists, tons of black engineers, tons of that. You understand? We need this. We need that. Right? You do that, you get big water money. Pays for itself in the long run. Plus, black folk get clean water. And this is something to remember too. There are other black neighborhoods in America, or even across the world. But since a lot of you want to only focus on America, you want to think America's the land of milk and honey, right? A lot of people in America don't have filthy water, just like in Flint. Maybe even more toxic, right? Some people for even longer. It's not making the headlines. It's not making news. But that's what it is, right? There are so many opportunities for nationalists to come together, to pay engineers. The engineers don't even have to be nationalists. To pay the engineers and say, hey, you're a black engineer. We have a problem right here. We want to so and so forth. We got this money resources. We blah blah blah. We want to enlist your help. And they say, hey, sure, if you're paying me this much money, sure, I'll do it. I'll do that for sure. Right? We don't have that. Because we don't have intelligent leadership. What we have, however, is like this. I learned about an organization called Black Millennials for Flint, right? And I mean, obviously, you already know it's not going to be something positive, but let's say it's something positive, and then let's just say psych, right? That's it. Black Millennials for Flint. And so, you go into the website and you click on the Get Involved, right? And the Get Involved says, be a lead prevention ambassador, right? And it tells you to take part in the Lead Prevention Ambassador Leadership Program, okay? Lead Prevention Ambassador Leadership Program. And for those of you who didn't get a chance to sign up for my leadership course, I guess in a sense you could probably sign up for this one, right? No, you missed out though, right? But here's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this, right? And the list goes, hey, you can analyze and draft recommendations for local organization, or you could do social media coalition building, or you could do networking and coalition building. And you attend public meetings to testify before elected officials, and you have community engagement and outreach, fundraising, and fund development, right? Now, if you were paying attention, you're probably laughing your butt off, you know. And if you're not from America, you're probably laughing it up, right? Let's say you're in Africa and you're laughing it up like you're from, you know, like you're in like a paradise or something. You know, you're not, because again, there's an organization in Africa, same thing, right? It's called Shanghai Ghani Consulting, right? And it's in Togo. And I saw a video of it, and I couldn't understand it because it's in French, obviously. But it's some sister like you don't even got to speak the language, and you already know it's some sister bragging about spending a decade in China trying to attract Chinese economic actors to Togo, you know, and you don't have to speak French, but she calls herself an entrepreneur. She calls herself an entrepreneur. You understand? She's going to China to get small fry Chinese folk to invest in her in Togo, right? And there you have it. There you have it. She called herself an entrepreneur. So you have in America the lead prevention ambassador, and you have in China the entrepreneur who invites Chinese people to take over her small country. These two examples, they represent the majority of African efforts. They represent the majority of African efforts. These are all glorified begging Eurasians to fix African problems. Begging Eurasians to fix African problems. Now, I'm going to tie in right here, you know, Carlos Cook's, right? Carlos Cook's, you got to get Carlos Cook's book, because Carlos Cook's book orients you toward where we need to be. Okay, Carlos Cook's, unlike these beggars, because begging is the majority circumstance. You want to read someone who's not about begging, someone who's about somebody's about like Carlos A. Cook's, for instance, started developing a building in Africa. In Harlem. So developing a building in Harlem that would act as a community center that also would help in the repatriation of Africans, but also the intercommunication between Africa and America. So the building was near completion before he passed away, like just a few years off of completion, you know. And this is in light of how much the city of New York didn't want him to build this thing. So I definitely, if you're looking to see a holistic account of what it's like to not be a beggar, right? And this is something you should say yes to. If you're looking for that, you know, like I said, you know, send me $15 or more, right? You know, send me $15 or more. But listen to this right here. Listen to this advertisement right here, and really spend the time to do this one. Now, again, like I said, $15 or more. You know, don't, you know, this is called the future of your people. This is called the future of your race. Don't try to skip out on the bare minimum when it comes to the future of your race. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Peace Seeker. This is Oni from the Pro-Black Perspective, and we need power. Power will not be handed to us. We need to build power. But in order to build power, we need a power blueprint. You need to study the best blueprints available. You have Garvey's. You have Wilson's. You have Williams. You have mine. Now, you'll have Cook's. Carlos A. Cook's was Garvey's best student. The greatest mind in the world from 1940 to 1966. Yes, the greatest. Yet Whitey doesn't want you to read his blueprint. Cook's blueprint isn't religious. Cooks isn't for integration. Cooks isn't for communism. Cooks isn't even for anti-blacks. Cook's blueprint is for Africa. And Cook's blueprint is the unknown blueprint that was the basis of black power as we know it today. When you say buy black, you're talking about Cooks. When you say black is beautiful, you're talking about Cooks. When you say Malcolm got something right, you're talking about Cooks. But Cook's blueprint was lost. And Whitey is hiding that blueprint behind $1,000 paywall. He's hiding solutions from you, telling you you need to take out a small loan to get the information that can liberate you. Whitey does not want you to have solutions to your problems, but you need solutions. You need power. I will give you the Carlos A. Cooks Reader, valued over $1,000 at a 98% discount, $15. Send $15 to cash.me/$ABS only with the subject Carlos and your email address, and I'll send you the ebook. We need power. You need blueprints. Start building today.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
Now, back to this quote-unquote ambassador, right? This letter ambassador, right? She's, they're fundraising for white people to get off their asses, right? Don't mean to curse, but, although some people won't say that's a curse, but they're fundraising for white people to get off their butts and supply clean water to black folk. And they're doing this instead of seeing the opportunity for an African water company to supply clean water in Michigan. Just think about that. Just imagine that. A water company money. That's what fundraising should be. Fundraising should be, like I said, business in the Pro-Black Compendium, I say in the glossary, business is turning $100 into $1,000. Business is turning $100 into $1,000. If you're fundraising, your fundraising should turn $100 into $1,000. That's called business. If your fundraising is just about, hey, we're going to go to these white boys and tell them to write some legislation, or we're going to go to the white boys and review their legislation, it's pathetic. And this is why white people love those kind of people. These kind of people are always in pictures with white folk. White folk want to take a picture. They want to take a photograph with the dummies. You understand? They want to take a photograph with the dummies. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Now again, fundraising, and then even if you want to go to the Africa side, because like again, I know some people in Africa, if it's even getting there. If you're in Africa, let me know. Holler at me. Tell me, hey, yo, we hearing you in Togo. Let me know, right? But this is what I'm saying. Even if you're in Africa, you there like laughing, you like, man, these all right, that's a curse, right? All right, but anyway, man, these Americans, man, we're not Americans, like I just said, but you understand, like those Africans in America, they don't got no sense, right? The ambassador in China, right? You understand that when she goes to China, okay, when she goes to China, she's going to these low-level Chinese people, right? She's not going to wealthy wealthy Chinese people ain't really worried about Togo, okay? So the Chinese person who's worried about Togo is likely not really doing too well for himself. The thing is this, that she could have just as easily have been an ambassador in traditional black areas, right? And unfortunately, when I looked up, rich black, like this, she could go where black wealth is, right? Either, let's say, Atlanta, right, or Lagos, She could go to some black city, or she could even go to real wealthy black areas like Friendly, Maryland, or Hillcrest, New York. You get what I'm saying to you? She could go to these kind of areas, right? But she's not. She's going to beg, right? Like here's the thing. She's going to go beg on other people to empower themselves, right? She's going to say, hey, man, look, you could get a lot richer. You know, here in China, you just run a little shop. But if you run that same shop in Togo, we'll make sure you have no competition. We'll make sure you have access to all the women that you want. You know, we'll make sure that you get, you know, you have cheap labor. You know, when your stuff come off the boat, you know, we'll unpack it for low money. You know, we'll make sure that you have somebody cleaning your store for pennies. We'll make sure of that. You understand? My thing is this: if you're gonna beg, right, then you gotta beg your own. You know, like go to Hillcrest. You know what I'm saying? Go up to, you know, go into Lagos. Go into Accra. You know, go and look for wealthy people there. Don't go snooping around China looking for, you know, some failed, you know, some failed, but I guess real entrepreneur. Right? Don't look for that in China. Look for that in a black area. You understand? Because like I said, if you're going to empower someone, empower your own. You know, you're literally calling yourself an entrepreneur or an ambassador or an activist for begging other people to do what your people are well equipped to do. You know, I can't stress enough. You know, the Chinese were not wealthy before they came looking at your little city. You understand? They were not wealthy when they came to your little city. No, you brought them wealth. You know, and I gotta elaborate again here. You know, they don't like me. They don't like Oni. You know, the U.S. government. None of these governments like me because I'm not on that dumb ish. You understand? And so if you wanted to know what is the takeaway for this podcast, you know, a lot of people will say, hey, look, if you're going to do a podcast or if you're going to do an essay, let's say it's an essay, right? You don't end with a curveball. You know, you don't end with a curveball. You want the conclusion to be well established throughout the body of the essay, right? Well, look here, it's not an essay. Okay? What you can do is you can join the KWAZ radio station. Okay? Because Bitter Meds was banned too. You understand? Whitey does not want intelligence on the airwaves. He's letting you know what he doesn't want. So if you have something intelligent to say, come share it with us. That's it. If you have something intelligent to say, come share it with us. If you don't have something intelligent to say, you read the Pro-Black Compendium, you read Carlos A. Cooks, you read Zuberi, and then come join us on the airwaves. Okay? That's it. That's it. Thank you for listening, obviously. You know, get these books, send some reviews, put some comments up, let me know where you're at. Let me know where you're at. And that's it. You know? Come join us on the KWAZ radio station. We definitely want to hear more. We definitely want to have a network of Africans doing something. Because this white boy does not want intelligent people broadcasting. Well, guess what? You hear me, right? All right, thank you. Abibi Fahodie.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Greetings, family. This is Koku, host of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. In case you didn't know, we have an online book club called the Bitter Medicine Book Club. Every month, we will select a book to inspire the Bitter Medicine Podcast listening audience to read along together. At the end of the month, we will have a call-in show and book discussion. This is a great, dynamic way for readers to not only enjoy a book, but also have others to bounce ideas off of. They say if you want to keep anything away from black people, put it in a book. Don't allow this to be true. Head over to bittermedicineblogs.com and subscribe to our newsletter for important updates. Do that today. Join our reading collective today and empower yourselves, your family, and your community. Peace and blessings. You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
Thank you for listening. I invite you to join hands with your brothers and sisters as we recite the African affirmation together. It's a call and response, so follow my lead. We are an African people, robbed from our homeland, robbed of our names, our languages, our cultures, our religions, our womanhood, our manhood, our sisterhood, our brotherhood, our motherhood, our fatherhood, our selfhood, our nationhood, and our self-respect. But we shall rise, never to fall again. Up, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.